Hi guys, it's me, Joseph Anderson again, and for this final video that I will be dedicating to my birthday month in June of 2026, I shall be talking about a movie that is very influential, but it's also very odd, kind of disturbing in some ways. So I just apologize for you if this movie is a little bit too out there even for me, because I watched this movie sober, and something told me that the only for me to fully get it, for me to fully understand all the images, and for me to understand all the ideas and concepts in it, I would have to be stoned, or I would have to be on some kind of alcoholic bender trip. So, without further ado, let me talk about the movie Paprika. Now, this is a 2006 anime movie from the land of rising sun, Japan. Now, let me tell you something. This movie is very strange and unusual. It might even be more strange and unusual than I can take, than I can handle. But it's a pretty good story, and it's a pretty out there type concept. And I've been telling people for a long time, this movie was it influenced the movie for The Matrix. But it wasn't that. It influenced the movie Inception, which was a very good movie by itself. But you could actually see, if you watch the movie yourself, which I'll put the link for Paprika in the description below, you could actually see where I could make that mistake. Because many of the things that are in the Matrix can be used in this movie as well. So, many of the concepts on this stuff can be used in the Matrix. So, any Matrix and all the other sequels and whatever for it. So, there. Now, I should tell you before I get into this, the masterpiece of the mindfuckery is that this is one of the movies that I saw for the first time in college, when I went to New Paltz College. And, it was on a list of 5 movies or so that we had to see for the class. We could pick 4 of us seeing it, skip one of them, and then make commentary with the other students as to, what you thought of the movie, concepts, ideas, or whatever, the movie details, and all that. So, I was so much of a nerd for Japan and culture and things like that I actually watched all 5 movies. Big bragging point for me, I guess. And I got an A plus on the class. So, yeah, for me. But let me tell you something. This movie is so strange and so out there. I really do have lots of respect for it. In fact, this movie was made by Madhouse Studios, which I think is the same studio that made Red Line, which is my favorite standalone anime movie of all time. Besides next to Dragon Ball Z, which is my favorite anime show of all time. But I would say that Red Line is my favorite movie of all time in anime form. But this comes as a close second, because God damn, it's really bizarre. Anyway, the whole idea is that this guy, now I'm gonna butcher a few names here, so I'm gonna just refer to them as the first letters of Tonoka, meaning it's I'm gonna call him T for this thing. T creates a device in which outsiders can monitor dream sequences of a patient and then use the dream to interact with the person's psyche or with their personal self-image or something about their own avatar into their own brain. Kind of like the movie was the Cell with Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, I think it was the Cell. Yeah, I think it was the Cell. So it's kind of like that. And then later on, that dream interruption type sequence will be used in the movie Inception, in which people can influence people's thoughts into something about it, helping with crimes and all that good fun stuff. And this thing called the DC Mini, which I have no idea if it has anything to do with DC comic books. I don't know if they, went that far in talking about it, but I don't know what DCX stands for in this instance. Anyway, Dr. T is the smartest person in this universe, and in this storyline. He's a big guy, big at not chubby, but just fat and tall. And I think they play up the stereotype a little too much about the nerdy guy who cares so much about his work that he lets it go a lot. And he's in love with this woman called Atsuko. I think her name is Atsuko. She's a very thin lady who for some reason always likes to go bare stocking, whenever she runs or walks around in this space. And in the movie she actually does help out with Miss Dr. T and getting out of a weird situation. Like, for example, getting unstuck from an elevator. And she said, fat cup of lager, something hurtful like that. And she said that he always gets caught doing that freakish masturbation that her sister coming from someone named that he has respect for, and he likes to call Chan, at Chan. It's just like a Japanese way of saying, my friend or they would be love interest, but my friend and all that. So that's really hurt them. I would say that definitely crosses a line, this guy like you. I mean, sure he's big and all that stuff, but still, he doesn't feel you do right that you do hurt them by doing that, by saying that, you're a big fat slob, you got no self-control, you're all that stuff, which, yeah, that might be true and stuff, but you don't gotta say it out loud to his face. And, anyway, he's a brilliant scientist, and he developed this DC Mini. I don't think DC regular, but they don't present that in the movie. In any case, they work for the chief. And the chief reminded me of that guy from, the chief reminded me of the chief from, Ghost in the Shell a little more like Dr. Wily-ish, if that makes any sense. It looks more like a bug-eyed scientist, like Doc Brown from the Back to the Future movies and TV show. Anyway, they have one part where he actually jumped out the top of a building, and they hooked this DT mini thing up to him, and it's let's see here, it does what it's meant to do. About people with like a trauma or like kind of a psychological issue, and the scientists used the DT mini to analyze the person's brain waves and whatnot, and make little movies out of the dreams, and then they can interact with the dreams, and then make them into help them out as a form of therapy for them. It's very bizarre. So they used this DC mini on the guy that did jump out the window, and they find that he's going to a little parade, if you will. A very, very bizarre parade. And Dr. Azuko can use an avatar that she created for herself called Paprika of the spice. Yeah. Yes, they do refer to it as a spice in the later part of the movie, in 2 spots at least, which they say, you want to add some spice to your life, well, there's a paprika right there. And this girl Paprika is actually like a persona made up by Dr. A, and she's everything that A is not. It's basically Z, and pretty much Paprika is like happy go lucky, free spirited, helpful, open minded, and all that other stuff. But A is more like closed minded, very conservative, like a traditional Japanese person is. No offense to anybody. And Paprika is more like more of a modern type or a flapper type girl, like, with the hairstyle. And she looks somewhat like Trixie from the Speed Racer cartoons, and she's more free spirited. So in any case, they have Paprika helping out the chief get out of his little fantasy world, in which he's in this weird parade thing there, and he's all hopped up on ecstasy and like all the pleasure chemicals of the brain, and if he were to reach the end of this parade route, I think it's implied that he would reach the end of his life cycle, where the parade is somewhat akin to the tunnel of light that we all experience when we die, and all the things that are incorporated in the parade, all the religious Tory gates, all the angels, all the dolls, all the happy toys, all the everything else in there. It's representative of some kind of happiness for the chief or for anyone that goes through this parade. Like I said, when they reach the end of the parade route, they're pretty much they reach the end of the tunnel. There's a point of no return, that type of thing. And that's like kind of weird. So anyway, Paprika has to try to rescue the chief from reaching the end of the parade route. And she does this by a very weird way because there's this other force in there trying to keep him in check, trying to lead him to the end of the road. And she ends up stopping him, and this is wicked and weird and kind of sexual because she could put any part on his body, on his avatar person, but she goes right for the she decides to merge into his body inside of her his happy area. So she goes into his skin there, and he inflates his body like a big balloon, and then he pops, thereby saving him and bringing him back into conscious thought in the real world. So that's kind of weird. It's kind of on the same level as the imagery you see in from Akira with Tetsuo becoming like a big giant monster, a big blood monster. And there's also a guy in there called Officer K. Honestly, looks like Genoff Drag of the Vegemite. It's an invincible General Fag. And he's like a good guy in this movie. He's trying to solve a weird type of he's trying to solve a weird homicide mystery. I don't know if they actually show that he solved the case or whatnot, but he's trying to feel it really something on his mind because he keeps showing that all the time. Like his mind warps around it and tries to find every solution and all that. And there's also a game in there that reminds me of remember the bar scene from the first Shining movie? The first Shining movie with the Titans go to the bar. Yeah, remember that too. So anyway, Paprika is the avatar for Dr. A. And he actually takes on a bunch of avatars in the dream world, and most of them are pop culture references. Like for example, Tinkerbell. Another one would be Pinocchio, complete with Monstro as well. Another one would be Son Wukong. I mean, not Goku, but the actual inspiration for Goku. Son Wukong, complete with the power pole, or whatever they call it in that version. They have a few others that I probably wouldn't understand or get. But anyway, this is an anime movie because it would be complete without a picture shot or two of Tinkerbell. There's also a weird rape scene in there, which I'll get to in a moment. But there's also a guy that's like the chairman of this DC mini reshoot and development department, and he's more of an evil Professor X, because the world needs them with here. He tried to use this thing to, I guess, conquer the world and to be able to get himself a new pair of legs. And he wants to sexually assault the Dr. A. So what he does is, in dream world, he subdues her as Paprika, and then he does a weird thing with his hand. Remember in the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, when they had the Cassandra Nova, put her hand inside people's heads and fill around and shit in their heads? Well, it was weird because he puts his hand right on Paprika's happy area and stretches his hand underneath it and underneath the skin, and you see the hand go under her shirt, and for some reason that's the part where Paprika's like, ow, 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 as he reaches the heart and lung area. I would think that if this really happened in real life, I would think that the happy spot would be ow, ow, ow too, if you know what I mean. So anyway, he gets up to her face, and then he lifts Paprika's face in half. Like he was ripping open a new suit, or if he would just swing a melon from the inside out. So it was kind of freaky and weird and stuff, but underneath was a pure and fresh and ripe Dr. A right there for him to assault. And it was weird because I know that this movie came out before the show, Legend of Horror, but he sprouted like a tentacles or roots out of his hand, and he grabbing Dr. A by the throat and then shoving one of the roots into her mouth, kind of like in Korra with Monologue, ripping out the spirit of Rafa from a person. So it was like really freaky, kind of like a rape scene, but not really for the kids, I guess, to watch this. We were able to get that for in the movie. That was saying, Mom, Dad, there's a woman being assaulted on the movie screen. So anyway, he said, I wanted you, and I wanted to do this to you. But then the other half of his, I guess, skin suit said, no, I won't let you do this to her because I love her too. So I guess it must have been like a coworker or something that said no, her body, her choice type of thing. So he put a stop to that. The person, he dissolved into buzzable things. I think that she was also on like a buzz-like type table or something. And it was really, really freaky. And by the way, that's the only time it's nudity in this whole movie, except if you come the end of it. Okay, the second time it's nudity in the movie. But let's see here. There's also a very good quotation in this too, and that when they show Paprika and Dr. A as two separate entities, Dr. A says that Paprika is a a part of her mind, her imagination. You're who I want to be. You're who I desire to be. You're open, you're free, you're nice, kind, and whatnot. But then, Paprika makes a good point to say that, no, Dr. A, you are part of me. You are part of me in my own fictional world. And that's a very good question. It's a very good concept and idea, because even though she's fictional, she would have a point there, saying that within the context of the world that you're in, the artificial world, wouldn't your construct be wouldn't that be like the master and you'd be part of that person's identity too? That you created that person, so you will be part of her identity too. That's kind of weird, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Anyway, to hear that, so they showed that the chairman isn't done with all this stuff, and he wants to rule the world, rule the universe place. So he has to have he does like a big giant kaiju type transformation, in which he becomes a giant smoke monster, more or less, giant black smoke monster. And he tried to destroy everything else and anyone that would stop in his way. So they have Dr. T over there, big stuff, and he comes to defend everybody, including Dr. A. So Dr. T ends up becoming like a giant toy robot. Again, playing into his big size problem there. Against the avatar, the subconscious avatar also incorporates that you think that you're overweight, you know that you're a big person and stuff, so that's what you should be. That's what you are in your own mind. Whereas if I were doing that, I would be a person who was here in a fantasy dream world. I'd be a tech superstar or something rather. Or maybe I'd be the president of the United States of America. I would do a shit little better job than what we got now. So anyway, they have him defend Dr. A and the good chief and Mr. K with toy missiles that come out of his chest area. And that's real cool that you defend your friend and people that want to do good in this world. And they also have this weird recurring thing where they have the guy Dr. K, Mr. K got the flag, and he had him doing like a movie, like a spy movie where he's trying to get this culprit, and he imagined all kinds of different genres of things for trying to figure out who this person is. They have this one thing where he's going to a circus, and the other one where he's just going into like a spy type thing, and it's very weird and very bizarre. It's very on the case. Like more of a stereotypical person that's obsessed with something, like an obsessed cop. So they also repeat this like twice in the movie, this whole sequence. So anyway, they have it where they show Dr. A interacting with with Dr. T again. And remember the elevator sequence I told you about before? Yeah, they refer to that again. But this time instead of the guy in the elevator getting stuck in the elevator, they have him being stuck in a building as a toy soldier, as a toy robot, and she pulls him out in a bigger giant ethereal ghost form for Dr. A, because Paprika is not available at the time to do that. So anyway, they have a kind of like a merge with the guy, because they found out that in the real world, she's in love with the guy. She said that the outside of a person doesn't matter, inside the counts. But there's a limit to that. In other words, she loves him for his mind, but the body's gotta be slimmed down a little bit. Now there's only so much of a big person she can take. So assume that they wouldn't make Paprika 2 or whatever, that this person would obviously lose weight. It would be very rare for a person in Japanese culture to be that big unless they were a sumo wrestler. Which, by the way, the only reason why a sumo wrestlers are that big is because they train their bodies and they eat heavy protein meals every day to get so big and bulky. So anyway, they merged together, and she convinces his love for him because she can't imagine life for anything else without the big dope boy. She loves the big guy, which I know love has no limits, but for someone that big, I have to ask, how is that possible without him crushing her? I'm not trying to be funny or gross or anything, but how is that even possible for someone that big with someone that slender? In any case, yeah. So anyway, they merge in the fantasy dream world, and she ends up coming out as like a baby of herself, and she actually sucks up all the bad mark of the bad guy of the in the dream world and such, and she performed the Pokemon attack Dream Eater because he ends up trying to make her obey by crushing her head in his hand. Like you do with cats, like they give him the claw, and they don't like it for some reason, and then he attacks her. But she ends up sucking out his hand and then arm like a big piece of spaghetti, and then she ends up sucking up his matter, and it's weird because as she's sucking him up, I know that sounds very dirty, but as she's sucking up his body, that sounds even worse. But as she's devouring him, yeah, that sounds very bad. But anyway, the whole thing is that she gets him by and she actually grows up and matures to be his full size. I don't know if it's implied that by destroying his body in the dream world, she really does kill him in the real world. They don't really make that clear, but I'm gonna assume that he, since his body was consumed in the dream world, he probably is in the real world, probably comatose or something or other. And they probably put him into custody for that, for the rape, all that. So anyway, they also said in the last moments of the movie that Dr. A is gonna marry Dr. T, the big guy, and which is very happy news for General Flag over there. And it's all written in the voice of Paprika, because we all need a little spice in our lives. I hear that Paprika tastes like the peppery spice. And that's it. This movie is very bizarre in some of the imagery involved. I have no idea why. For example, in the parade they have like toys and they have Japanese women figurines in there. I have no idea why they also lead the parade with a giant fridge. That's weird. Beyond compare. There's also very visually stunning for this movie. And in general, the little dream sequences get really strange and bizarre too. For example, you have one part where he's always focused on this one crime scene of the homicide in question, where they show like the scenery like quivering and folding on itself, kind of like a carpet that you push and it wrinkles up and doubles over on itself and that kind of thing. So it's very weird, very bizarre. Physics take a break in this one. There are no that when things go in the movie, physics tend to get broken very quickly in this. And like I said, very visually out there. To the point that I'm very happy that they come for more grounded visuals for the real world. All the people look like they would if you would meet them on the street. The big guy, being rare for Japan society. It's like looks actually like a real person you might meet on the street. That the A looks like a real person you might meet on the street and fall in love with in my case. The chief looks like a real person. The chairman actually looks like a real person. When you come to the dream world, the fantasy world, it's more or less like it's so bizarre, the visuals. So it could very well be the Matrix. Matrix could be a fantasy type environment as well. And we have to wake up from it. But anyway, this movie is very weird and very strange, like I said, but it's very likable. I mean, you gotta be really sober to understand everything. You gotta be like a PhD level intelligence to understand everything and make comparison with like real psychology and all that crap. But it's still possible. Most people will probably just be in love with the visual, like I am. And all the other stuff can be guessed or or improvise. That's the meaning of it. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie. I'll put the link for it in the description, like I said, because this movie is one of the movies that you have to watch. If you're a fan of anime or something, you should definitely watch it. This once. Definitely sober. And possibly, if you're really interested, try watching it high. It has mushrooms or some pot or something, low power, THC, and watch it. I dare you. And see if you get any different results. But it's very breathtakingly beautiful. It's like a train wreck, but in a good way. You can't look away from it. Also, the music is good too. And not looking well. Oh yeah. Also, YouTube has a habit of putting movies for free. But then, when the month is over, let you watch them in, then they will go to private videos. You can't watch them anymore until next month when they're available again. So when I was watching it for the video that I'm doing right now, and then I went out for something, I went back for a few hours afterwards, so I watched the movie again and continued watching it. So then midnight came around, and then it was set to private. I was like, oh no, crap, I'm gonna have to wait another month at least to finish watching it. So then I went to take a look at my YouTube feed, and I worked till later. And I found out that the movie was alright, ready to go again. So I'm like, yes. So that's why it came out so late. But anyway, this movie is definitely worth the wait. It's a little confusing, but I think you'll like it. So anyway, I thank you for watching my video on Paprika. The 2006 anime, which was based on the movie Inception. I like the way Dr. T in the movie said it's illegal to influence people's minds and people's dreams. So I guess that sequence which they do in Futurama, which they put where Professor Farnsworth put a dream inside an egg, and then the egg explodes, was kind of a no-go for legal purposes. But yeah, this movie is pretty amazing as far as that goes. As far as the dream sequence goes. And I like the idea about using a technology like this in the future if we develop it to try to ease the pain of somebody, or for therapy purposes, or for helping people out with committing murders or mistakes or something or other. Because I can see so many things that can be rated by this technology, or it could fall into the wrong hands, with the chairman. And that's really cool. Yeah, I get this for my birthday month. My birthday month, 2026 of June 2026. It was high time to do it. And as you can imagine, I get money. my yellow happy face of approval because it's freaking awesome. This movie. It's wonderful. It's great. It's stupendous. It's absolutely stunning. The concept in the movie is just really good. And the way the guy at the end is really nice. Plus, I love the fact that they showed that in the beginning of the fight sequence that the A is more of an immature little brat. But then she gets older and wiser by the end. And she absorbs the guy's dreams and is in comatose. If you like what you see here, you want to see more of my videos, then would like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Or you can always contact me by finding out future stuff of my future videos and whatnot by calling me or texting me 631 707 3707. Or if you want, you can always follow me on Twitter or actually prefer at PNelsonPro. Or you can get my email at jjgamingchannel@gmail.com. So, if there's any other mind-blowing animation, let me know what you want to see next. I absolutely do not like anime or any science fiction stuff. And peace out, my brothers and sisters. Little spikes in our lives. So here comes Paprika. Bring some spice to us. Anyway, I also love the way you have the caption on the movie for those who don't speak Japanese that well, and they give every other word except encore in the movie, which playing to show the guy general guy Mr. K. His memories were like a movie screen. Kind of like they did in most tunes. Which is really funny and really amazing because that's how we like to think of memories being like a movie screen. I'm sure probably for the older people, probably more like a black and white movie reel. Anyway, this I highly recommend the movie. Anyway, I'll see all you girls and guys in the next video. Sayonara and ciao. And see ya.